Welcome to our relationship podcast. Each of us today will be answering the questions as we feel the characters from our novels respond. My name is Emma Hendrickson, and I will be speaking as Claire Kendry from Nella Larson's Passing.
Hi, my name is Ella Bolter, and I will be speaking as Anne Elliot from Persuasion.
Hello, my name is Jess Schmidt, and I will be speaking as Julian of Norwich from Revelations of Divine Love.
My name is Bridget, and I will be speaking as Kate Percy from Henry IV. All right, our first question was sent in today by St. Augustine. He's always been a fan of ours. Thanks, Augustine. Now, here's the question for y'all. How did you first meet your spouse/significant other?
My spouse and I met many years ago. I lied to him about my identity, ran away with him, and abandoned what was left of my family, friends, and community to live another life completely. I was only 18 when we tied the knot, and I'm sure it was the topic of much gossip back home. The old things probably thought I was living in sin, wherever I was, and it would be about what they expected.
Wow. That's completely different from how me and my significant other met. We didn't meet in the conventional way. Technically, I've known him for most of my life, but I would say that I really got to know the real him when I was living as an anchorite and mystic in the side of a church. In this, I met him when I requested to receive 3 of his gifts. I asked for vivid perceptions of his passion, bodily sickness, near-death experience, and 3 wounds that were contrition, compassion, and an earnest longing for him. After I made these requests, they did come to pass, and though it wasn't really a romantic start, I would say it was when I really got to know him.
Wow, that's different.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Guys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have kind of a rocky road of how I met my spouse. I met him when I was very young and fell madly in love, but I sadly could not stay with him because of our class differences. Yeah.
It always comes down to that.
I know. So sadly I had to break things off, but later down the road I caught back up with him and reignited our spark.
Ooh. It's romantic. Sounds like it'd be a good book. Alrighty, I have another question sent in from a viewer. Our next question is from a Sigmund Freud. I hope I'm saying that right. He asked us, what is your biggest failure, and what did you learn from that experience? Sounds very psychological. Interesting.
Honestly, looking back on it all, I think my biggest failure was probably letting my husband go off and die in a rebellion. Yeah, I'm a widow now, which really sucks. And, I tried to convince him. He was always so busy with the rebellion. He wasn't sleeping and eating. And, other things in our relationship were not going well. But I feel like, I've learned you just really got to, hold steadfast and just, stick to your principles. And I just feel like I should have done more to convince him to focus on our relationship instead of whatever else was going on.
Yeah, wow.
So
Sorry for your loss.
Was it your fault, or was it his fault?
No, it was his fault.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did what I could.
Then,
Yes, I can answer this one as well. Sorry, I'm just rereading it. I feel like, honestly, my biggest failure is letting Wentworth go the first time. I truly was in love with him, and I really should have just held on to that and thrown away all the class differences and everything like that and not cared what people said. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Wow, I really feel kind of like the odd one out here. So, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I don't necessarily regret any of them because my significant other is able to work out all my mistakes for the good. Because of this, I would say that I don't have any failures because everything done by God is well done. So, I guess if I had to pick one, though, it would be that I wasn't able to share more of my divine revelations with people, so.
Did you say your significant other is God?
Yeah, that's correct.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. Okay, so the last question was sent in by Karl Marx. What are some annoying habits exhibited by other couples that irritate you?
Oh, I gotta go one, you guys.
All right.
I think open communication is incredibly unnecessary.
Hot take.
My husband doesn't even know everything I'm up to. Why should he?
Okay.
I'd prefer to have my own life without him.
Dang, girl.
Then I'd be able to do as I please, when I please.
Wow.
That would be the dream.
I have a little bit of a different opinion on you. See, for me, it's when girls just let their husband do whatever they want. Like, girls, you can't be afraid to call your men out. If your husband's being a giddy goose, call him out on it. You've got to respect yourself. You got to fight back. You got to threaten to break his finger if he's disrespecting you. Like, you don't let a man talk to you that way.
Hey, yeah. Wow.
Wow.
What about you? What do you think about this?
I think it's up to you. Let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, so I'm gonna take a different approach here. It really bothers me when people actually, couples in particular, don't take their faith seriously in their relationship, because I feel this allows sin to compromise their relationship with God and each other. I think that, also, hot take, public displays of affection make me very uncomfortable. I think that should be kept
Hear, hear.
in private.
Yes.
That's just for, between man and wife. I think, Yep. And finally, when one person pursues their own goals over that of their partners and that of the Lord's, more importantly, I think that if God isn't first in your relationship, ladies, you're just inviting in sin and corruption. So that's my take on it.
Wow.
Well then. Calling us out today, Julian.
So sorry.
Alrighty, I have a question for you, Kate.
All right.
How do you deal with an emotionally unavailable boyfriend?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, I feel like I've had a lot of experience in this area. I mean, with Harry, it was just constant rebellion this, rebellion that, no time for us. Like, he wasn't eating, he laid awake murmuring about the rebellion, and let me tell you, things weren't exactly happening in the bedchambers.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh my.
Know a thing or two about that.
Honestly, though, I usually just threatened to stop taking care of myself if he didn't start loving me. And usually he would eventually kind of come back around and say he loved me. And, in the end, it just kind of works out. You figure it out eventually.
Until he dies.
Yeah.
Sorry, too soon?
It's okay. Things happen, Sometimes you think you have all the time in the world with your husband, and sometimes some punk kid comes around and kills him in a sword fight.
So unexpected. Wow. I'm so sorry.
Swords?
Yeah.
I didn't know they still did that.
Huh.
Well, let me see. I think I actually have a question for you, Claire, then back.
Oh.
What are some red flags in your partner you wish you had seen earlier?
Oh, good one.
Yeah. I think it's just exhausting to have to sneak around like some kind of criminal all the time. Like, you should be able to spend time with whomever you wish. Your partner has no right to dictate that. Although they will certainly try to and often succeed. Like my husband, for example. He keeps me out of everything. Everything I want.
Wow.
I could kill him. I expect I shall someday.
Oh, wow.
Tell you
Wow.
this, if you don't dictate what your partner does, they might die on you.
Yeah, okay.
If I don't do it first.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Death and murder.
Yeah.
Taking a full 180. Julian, I have a question for you.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Is God a priority in your guys' relationship? And this is open for everyone.
Okay, gotcha, yes. Well, for me, God is my significant other, so yes, he is the utmost priority in my life. I mean, he's the one that I spent, I don't even know, 15, 20, most of my life with, just praying and focusing on him. And because of this, I was able to avoid temptations that come with earthly relationships. I think that you should only get into a relationship. Sorry, kind of shifting the subject a little bit.
Yeah.
If God so calls you to, I'm going to even go that far, because I think that if God doesn't ordain it, then he's not the center of the relationship. And if he's not the center of the relationship, then I don't know what the foundation would be. And I think that invites a lot of temptation and lust and sin. So I don't know, guys. Sorry, does anyone else want to answer this question, first of all?
All I know is my husband needed God's help a lot.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
That's good. So, okay, then I'm going to shift it a little bit. What do you guys think a healthy relationship should look like then?
Freedom,
Ooh,
I
beautiful.
think.
Yes.
hmm
Okay.
Just a healthy relationship for me would just maybe be no relationship at all, just a way out.
Okay.
Just a way to focus on my friends. I think
Mm-hmm.
the greatest relationship in our lives are our friends.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I like where you're going with the freedom aspect. I'm gonna take that and run with it in a somewhat different direction. Is I feel as though a healthy relationship should be freedom from other people's opinions, and other people should not dictate what you and your significant other should do, like break up. And I feel like it should be freedom from class, from having the social responsibility of a certain class, and just choosing love for love.
Interesting. Actually, Anne, I have a question for you. How do you deal with a partner who has trust issues?
Yes. I feel like you just need to believe that they are... I don't know. I feel like, in my experience, Wentworth didn't truly have trust issues with me, but my father had trust issues with Wentworth because he
The
didn't
family.
have money. Wentworth, not my father. But when the tables were turned, I feel like his eyes were kind of opened, as were mine, as to the issues of class and how everyone is truly equal in the eyes of God.
Wow.
Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, and actually, Claire, I'm wondering if you have any opinions on that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband certainly doesn't trust me,
Yeah.
or at least not enough to not keep a leash on me.
Ooh.
Honestly, I wish he would leave more. I think that would be the best, because when
Yeah.
he's not around, I have the most fun. So how to deal with a partner with trust issues, try to stay away from them as much as possible.
Dang, girl, I wish my husband would have left less.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can trade.
Well, it's a bit too late for that.
I have a question for you. What do you think about your husband's relationship with Irene? Does that bother you, or are you content with him potentially having feelings for another woman?
You know, my husband wasn't too crazy about Irene. I mean, if he really knew more about her, more about the community that we both come from, he certainly wouldn't care for her. Yeah, I'd say they really haven't interacted very much, my husband and Irene.
Okay.
She did not have a great first impression with him.
Oh, that's okay.
Interesting.
Good to know. Yeah.
She was a class act, though. That's what I mean. Friends are the most trustworthy.
Yes.
A class act, my Irene. My Irene. And she's just crazy about me, too.
Oh, yes.
yes. She sounds lovely.
She does sound lovely. I'm glad you have secure friendships. Those are important.
Absolutely.
So would you say it's better to be single or in a relationship based on your experience with your husband?
Good question.
Single.
I second that.
I mean, I wasn't really happy with my husband, but I'm not very happy that he's gone. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, from all those conflicts, like, did you learn anything about how to deal with, like, those kinds of issues in a relationship?
I mean, honestly, I feel like one of the big things with conflicts I've kind of realized is that it's really important to take the time to, like, spend time with each other. I feel like maybe if Harry and I would have had some more time to, like, maybe work out our issues, maybe they could have figured it out instead of just yelling at each other all the time. But he was just so busy all the time and never had any time for me, so I guess we just never really had the time to work things out. So
Yeah.
That breaks my heart.
You know, and going off of that, like, what advice would you give to couples who are struggling to maintain a strong connection in the face of challenges like conflict or long distance or maybe a period of not being together?
Yeah, no, definitely just believe in yourself and in each other, and don't let anything else dictate how you two should be. You should definitely, you know what's best for you and what's best for your relationship, so definitely just stick to your guns, stick to your beliefs,
Yeah.
and everything will work out.
Absolutely. Well said.
Very, very well
That's
said.
very good.
All right, Kate, I have
Hi.
another question for you.
All right, ask away.
Is it okay to stay in a relationship if you're no longer in love with your partner, or maybe never was?
Excuse me. I don't know why you're asking me that question. Because despite everything we said to each other in the heat of the moment, Harry, he did love me, and I'm sure of it. I mean, sure, he may have said he didn't care about me. He said he'd rather go crack some crowns than spend time with me. But I knew that he would come around, and I'm sure he did eventually. I mean, I'm sure of it. To answer your question, though, I mean, I think you should stay with them. I mean, even if you banter often, it doesn't mean you can't make the relationship work, and either that or one of you will die. So, but I really think you should try and make it work.
And what if you can't make it work? What would you recommend then? Or do you think that there is a way to always make it work?
I feel like there's always a way. I mean, things did seem kind of bad between us. I felt very neglected, and we fought a lot. But I always felt like eventually I would be able to get through to him, and that's always kind of a hope I held on to. That if I just remained headstrong, I would eventually get through to him, and who knows, maybe I would have. But yeah, that's advice I would give to couples.
Bless your heart. I know we touched a little bit on this, but I was hoping you could say more. I'm just curious, what are some effective communication strategies that maybe you could give out to couples to improve their relationship? Do you have any?
I mean, I had some. As I mentioned earlier, like just taking the time to spend with each other and stuff like that, and just be able to like, I also do believe it's very important to be able to confront things head on. Like your husband's being a man-headed ape, call him a man-headed ape. Like just like stand your ground and just like be honest, be true to yourself, say what you mean. They'll say what they'll mean, and eventually, I mean, even if things are said, you'll be able to get through to each other.
Gotcha. Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a question out here for everyone or anyone. I'm just curious what you guys think about humility in relationships. Do you guys feel like you had that? Would you implement it, or is that an absolute no? Or what do you guys think?
I feel like a woman's role is very humble, especially being a mother. I think that being a mother might be the cruelest thing in the world.
Oh, why would you say that?
Well, children aren't everything. There are other things in the world, though I admit some people don't seem to suspect it.
Yeah.
It just can make you feel trapped.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of remind me of my husband with that. He always said women were meant to be more silent. I, of course, never really did agree with that, which is why, it resulted in some of the conflicts that we did have and stuff like that. But I think we both, in the end, were pretty stubborn, and
You don't say.
I know. Which I think definitely could have been some of our issues, and I maybe could admit I maybe could have been softer on a few things with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That takes courage to say that. So.
I am very courageous.
To kind of argue against your husband when he said that women should be more quiet, right?
Oh, yes, he was being a fool.
He was being a fool.
Yes. I was definitely more quiet when Wentworth and I met after our split, and it led to him speaking to other women. And I knew that he was the man for me, and it was just really hard to watch that all happen just right in front of my eyes. So, definitely speak up for what you think. I know I've been saying that a lot,
Yes,
but
very well said, though.
definitely be loud, take up
Yes.
space.
Yes. Would you have done it differently, though, if you could go back?
If I could go back to the first time that we were together, I would 100% do it differently. And even the second time. The first time I would have definitely listened to my heart more than my father. And the second time, I would have not been so shy
Okay.
and scared of his opinion of me after all that time.
Wow, that's a good point.
Yeah. Going on opinions of people's opinions of you, Claire, I wanted to ask, what do you think about, like, should you ever change for your partner? I'm just curious your opinion on this.
Oh, absolutely you should. There can be many advantages to changing who you are around your husband. The only person that deserves to know you is yourself. What right does your husband have to know all your secrets? Secrets are what keep a marriage afloat. Maybe not with the Lord Almighty, but with mere mortal men.
Ah. That sounds lonely. Are you lonely?
I've been lonely, not close to a single soul, never anyone really to talk to.
No.
But I have found a strategy.
Oh.
Persistence.
Ah.
Wow.
Keep sending letters to your friends. Keep showing up unannounced. Keep calling. Make your friend's house a second home. I
Wow.
think this leads to great connections.
You're kind of forcing it to, yeah?
Also, let me go on.
Yes.
Feel
Sorry.
free to invite yourself to events.
Mm.
It's a great way to get to know interesting people.
Really?
Well, I don't like your dishonesty. I do like your persistence.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yes. It looks... Sorry, do you want to...
No, go.
It looks like we are out of time for all the questions that we have, but I did want to end this episode with a question for our members. What is the current book that you are reading or planning to read that you are excited for? And give a little synopsis if it's an unknown book.
Ah, yes.
So this isn't super interesting, but the next book I was planning on reading is probably The Psychology of Money. I'm gonna have to read it for business class next year, and I already was able to get it, so I'm like, I'll read it early. I don't really know what it's gonna be about, but I'm guessing like learning more effective ways to like handle money and kind of like the way you think about it and stuff like that with like finances and stuff. So
Oh, yeah.
we'll see.
Practical.
Yeah.
Love it. Awesome.
Prepared, which is very good.
I'm excited to be reading the second book in the Hunger Games series, Catching Fire. I
Yes.
just started
No
it,
way.
so I love Peeta Malark.
Peta,
Yeah.
if it weren't for the baby Millard.
Oh my gosh. I'm excited though to get through the series and then to read the new
Songbirds?
one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that's the next
Yeah.
one I'm reading. Yeah,
I haven't read that one yet either.
I just finished the last Hunger Games book, The Mockingjay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I just finished that one literally this morning, and so I'm gonna start the Songbirds
That's so cool.
on this weekend.
Aw.
I'm so excited.
That's exciting.
Well, awesome. Okay, right now I'm reading the final book in a 5-book series, and it's been so silly because I started the series like right towards the end of summer break, so I didn't finish it because school started and then I was too busy. So
Oh,
I'm just like,
no.
nobody else is holding it at the library, so it keeps renewing automatically. So I've just had it for months and
Let's
I like
go.
haven't started. But it's the last book in the Lockwood & Co. series. It's
Very
called The
Stop
Empty Grave.
it.
Have you read that?
I started it, so don't
Okay,
spoil it. But
I really like it. I think sometimes it definitely reads like as a book written by a man in like 2010 or whatever. Because
Yeah.
like just when
Yep.
sexism was at an interesting time.
Oh.
We're like, well,
No, that's valid.
I think it's very like 2012 sexism because
Gotcha.
it'll be like it's written from the perspective of a teenage girl, and she'll look at this other girl. She'll be like, "She's so skinny. I hate her." I'm like, I have never once thought that in my life.
No.
Like, this is not how
Yeah.
women see each other. But it's just like
No.
I have to remember that this is like a 40-year-old man writing from the perspective as a teenage girl.
Interesting.
And for the most part, he does a good job. But every now and
Good,
then, I'm
good.
like, we don't hate women for being thin.
No.
Yeah.
We don't hate women for their bodies. We hate them for their personalities.
Amen.
It's a joke. It's a joke. Okay. Well,
That was a great way to end this.
it was
was.
a great final line.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for listening in on this episode of our Love podcast. See you next time, I guess.